It doesn't happen with Michael Andrews, but it always asks me whether I want to deny your entry or admit you.
Oh, man. You wouldn't deny my entry, would you? Come on, man.
Hello.
Hey.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Automike Deceptijet, your sideways APDC podcast delivering a review on the polarizing live-action 2007 Michael Bay Transformers film. Damn, that was a long... There's a lot of nouns in that sentence. And that's the APDC promise. We'll bring you more nouns per minute than any other podcast on the airwaves. Don't even have to bother fact-checking it, because in this day and age, you can just say something, and apparently it becomes true. And then the onus is on everybody else to prove that you're... Let's not go too far down this rabbit hole. We're going to keep it light. Joining me for this review is our friend Mike Seibert from Mike Seibert Radio, and Michael Andrews, author of Coming of Mage and Michael Bay Apologist. When we last left off in part 1, Captain Lennox and his team were attacked by Scorponok in the desert, and frenzy-infiltrated Air Force One hacks the system and finds the map imprinted on Captain Witwicky's glasses. In doing so, he also implants a virus that is crippling the military's defense system. Now, we pick back up with tech guru Maggie Madsen copying the virus onto an SD card and taking it to the best hacker in the world, who apparently she knows and is in town. Join us now for part 2 of the 2007 Transformers. Tech guru Maggie Madsen steals the SD memory card with the virus the Decepticons loaded and is like taking down basically to the defense network of the humans. And then Maggie says, Anthony, I don't even remember his hacker name, but I'm not gonna the actor's name, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anthony Anderson.
It does matter.
How about seeing a 2007 Anthony Anderson? It's like, I know we all
I completely forgot he was in this movie.
Me too.
He's a great part of it.
But it's weird.
Is he?
It's weird. It's weird to see him young and overweight because, he doesn't even look like that now. And that was his persona. That's what like an Anthony Anderson movie was, where it's like he's this guy.
Yeah.
And it's wow. It really took me back. It was weird and uncomfortable.
Maggie,
I would like to say that this is one of Kate's favorite characters in the movie, and like anything with him like brings her into the mix. So I'm a big fan of this character too.
I like Anthony Anderson. I feel like, again, pluck him out of the movie, doesn't matter. Doesn't change anything. Just make Maggie do all this.
Sure, but to get to what I was alluding to earlier with the big disaster movie plot, this is one of those tropes of the big disaster movie. Keep introducing cast, characters, bigger names. We just want to, like, the new scientist. I like that. I like that element of it.
That's fine. You know what? We can even, I'll acquiesce to even keeping him in. But like when Maggie says he's the only hacker in the world that can break this code, I'm like, you.
Oh man.
Just make him if you're going to keep him in the movie, just say I know someone who can break it. Like it was an irritating line to me.
Yes. So I have two very disparate things I'd like to litigate here before the council. One, it's an uncomfortable thing where Michael Bay has two African-American characters yelling at African-American women. I'm like, 2022 Mike doesn't like that. Yeah, I don't like that.
That's a good point.
Well, actually, I guess in a sense it's irrelevant that the two characters themselves are black, but like yelling at black women, not a good look. Don't like it. Now, but the other thing I wanted to toss at you are either of these two characters, either Glenn or Maggie, is either of them better if one of these assholes is Chip Chase?
That would be pretty. I would love that.
And
Yeah.
and the fan fiction headcanon I invented on the drive up here, wheelchair and all.
Yeah,
And just he's just Chip. Now and if you want to do
that's
something
so much better.
Yeah, and it could still be played by these same folks. I mean, Rachel Taylor is a lovely actress, but like, what if it's just her in a wheelchair and nobody says anything about it? I mean, certainly that wouldn't be allowed in a Michael Bay movie in 2007, but like, that would be kind of cool.
Michael
Or even like
just rolling his eyes.
Well, now you're claiming Michael Bay hates
It's true.
disabled people.
We will put a stamp on that. We don't know.
Well,
but...
no, you can't see her ass when she's sitting in a wheelchair. I guess that's all I mean. There's
Well,
less.
I can picture it.
I'm just saying there's less opportunity for objectification there. I didn't mean to imply that Michael Bay has a problem with the
Sure, he's just terrible in a different way.
He's not necessarily.
I don't think it's not fair.
He's just aggressively misogynist.
I think it's not. Yeah, I would say it's not unfair to say Michael Bay's pretty sexist. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I'm just saying, but it was just a weird thought that occurred to me.
That's a great idea,
Mike.
I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that would have been amazing. I would have loved that.
Yeah, I think
Chase
that's
is
very
one of my
cool.
favorite characters.
I do think that character might be a little in the weeds for someone doing a pass for like what characters can we grab from your source material, but yeah, that would have been cool.
And I should have said this earlier when I was talking about Anthony Anderson's character. Again, it's uncomfortable seeing the FBI raid. Their home. That's again in 2022. No bueno.
It is played for laughs because he's like, my grandma doesn't like anybody in the carpet, especially cops, and I'm like, I get the joke, but yeah, it is like, ooh, given this climate.
But don't you kind of give it props because that was as palatable as it was gonna get? I mean, you kind of had to. It's authenticity in showing it. Maybe they played it a little too funny, but that was all white people at that time were like okay with.
If that scene is made in 2022. Somebody's getting dead.
Yeah.
I mean, or if it's in real life, those people are dead.
Yeah. So, moving along.
And Michael Andrews is once again the villain of this thing. Let's move on.
We're not attacking. We're not trying to gang up on you at all.
There's really 3 Mikes in this episode, right? Michael Bay, Michael Andrews, Mike Seibert.
I like it.
You need to rename it.
So, moving on to another cop. Barricade is chasing Sam because
who is a bastard.
I love Barricade.
Barricade's pretty cool. I did love the touch of to punish and enslave, painted on, which is kind of just to dovetail, kind of just cops now.
Yeah.
But I did like this character. Like as a new Decepticon, I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, what? Yeah, and I kind of wrote this down too, but like what an interesting like obscure character to grab and then to make it an evil police car like and that character, that model of that character has gone on to like, be Barricade. Like Barricade's like a mainstream name now because of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's yet another Dotson bro now. It's like, so now when you do any version of Prowl or Blue Streak that will eventually become a smokescreen, you're going to get a Barricade in there too. And I think that's rad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
It's like when you get new Seekers. I like that you can add new characters with from the same mold, new mold mates.
Mm-hmm.
I love that story for him.
At this point, Sam is attacked by Barricade and asked if he's, Ladiesman 412?
Ladiesman 217.
217, that's it.
And that voice is great. It's like a cop voice,
Where are the glasses?
Yeah, where are the glasses? Are you Ladiesman 217?
Yeah.
It's like a a Batman Begins situation, right?
Kinda, like, yeah. and again, that line delivery goes well with a character that's a cop car.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, again, adds another level to it, to where it's like Sam is obviously uncomfortable through the intensity of this interrogation. Meanwhile, Michaela and her friends are just eating at Burger King ? And
she follows him to this parking garage for reasons.
A good time? Is that where
I
you're
don't know
going?
why she follows him, but she does on a
Score
really
some drugs.
on a cool little moped.
Yeah, she's gonna join the Boba Fett gang with her little scooter.
And so basically, yada yada yada. Bumblebee rescues Michaela and I'm gonna call him Spike and Sam, and then we have a chase scene with Barricade and B, and this is where my girlfriend said, "Oh, well, so this has just become a Dodge commercial."
Yes. This portion of the Transformers brought to you by Dodge.
By GMC.
Well, and it's so weird because sorry to interrupt, but like Barricade is a Mustang. So it's like it's weird that it's a Ford product, whereas no, but it's I mean, I remember being kind of weird about that at the time because like every other vehicle, or maybe it's like a heroes villains thing. It's like all the hero vehicles are GMC products. So yeah, so I don't know what licensing agreement they had with Ford to have Barricade be a Mustang. I don't know.
That was part of the GMC contract. They're like, you have to show one of the cars being bad that our competitors have.
Probably. Actually, you're probably not wrong.
That could be.
Yeah, I think you actually solved it.
It was at this. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
Sorry, I want to talk about this that scene where Barricade's chasing Bumblebee, because that is one of the very first clips of this movie we ever got to see, and it was a sneak peek on the anniversary edition of the '86 movie. I think was it the 25th, maybe 20th? Yeah. So they had a special feature on there about the upcoming live action movie, and that was like the one clip we got was Bumblebee being chased by Barricade, and it just like awoke in my imagination. I was very excited. I was on board after that.
Sorry.
Yeah, great. Go to hell.
No, not at all. I completely agree.
I won't
agree.
co-sign that.
No, I agree. I lost my place for a second.
I understand. And ironically enough, we've screwed up your edit point by stomping all over it. It's
That's
like
fine.
The best thing for us to do would be just to shut up while you get your bearings back.
I can fix it. Yeah, I couldn't fix it. So at this point in my notes, I wrote, I just know I'm going to get pissed off when the rest of the Autobots show up. Because I remember that being my least favorite part of the movie.
Oh, buddy.
Wow. You just can't make you guys happy. I don't want the Autobots to show up.
It's not that I don't want them to show up. I mean, they show up like fucking, we're what, an hour into this movie when they show up?
59:24 is the exact timestamp when the Autobots make
I just hate that they made them kind of idiots, like in this first couple scenes, like not later necessarily, but the first couple scenes that are played for laughs. Like the first scene where they show is fine. The scene at the house makes me upset. Anyway, okay, so Sam and Michaela are in B after the fight with Barricade, where he rescues them. One of you guys should probably get in the driver's seat because this looks really weird, like for just to be a car driving with no fucking.
I like this dialogue quite a lot.
It's nice.
I mean, even the potentially cringy part, I kind of like that as well. But it's like it acknowledges, like, well, we've acknowledged that Bumblebee is a person. He has like some sort of autonomy and agency to where it's like it would
the
feel
one driving.
weird. Yeah, he's driving, so it would feel weird. And the seatbelt thing doesn't bother me because
I don't hate it.
It's kind of cute, and what I think makes me buy off on it is that she buys off on it. She's like that's a lame line, but I'll allow it.
She's like,
I
see what she's like. I see what you did there, and it's played like it's cute.
It's cute. It's fun.
So we start to see that there's some incoming meteorites to Earth, and
also called meteoroids.
I don't hate the fact that Transformers can become other forms because B, like we're skipping over it, but B becomes a upgraded Camaro.
And we just go.
Say, let's not dodge that. They do because they do the scan in the alleyway, and I think it's a pretty cool little beat where they do the Kill Bill musical cue. And
it doesn't.
Camaro pops
I like
out.
it.
And it's kind of funny when she's like, "Why is he turning this piece of crap Camaro?" Like
Oh, now you made him mad. Oh, now he's mad.
But I was gonna say, you guys being fans of the '86 movie, did you? I mean, I thought there was some notes for like when he scans it. There was sort of that like when they break down Megatron, when Unicron, there's sort of that like line stenciling detail. If you look really, maybe Mike, you didn't see it on the DVD version.
Oh, nice standard def DVD.
but if you go back and look, I think there's a little nod to that sort of reformatting.
I didn't even
of
notice
Megatron
that.
scene.
That's super cool. I never thought of it that way before, but that's, I mean, that checks out because there is a little bit of a grid there. So,
Oh, wow.
and it's probably even the same shade of green too, if you think about it, because like the beam is green, right?
Yeah. If you look up, there's even a toy. There's like a scan series. Like if you look up scan series Bumblebee, they even made a toy where they it's a transitional paint job that they put on it, and you can kind of see that. I think that they leaned into that visually.
That sounds rad.
That is really cool. So yeah, I don't. That didn't bother me where they can turn into other forms. I kind of rationalize it as being sort of like in Beast Wars, which I did like. They have proto forms where they can like they scan. It's also kind of like, I mean, the first episode of the cartoon where the Sky Spy scans things and reformats them. So
explore, repair.
Yeah, totally.
So, okay, we have some meteorite pods starting to rain down from the sky, and I gotta say, they don't aim very well.
No.
They're all over the place.
None
For
of
the
it
saviors of humanity, they sure don't give a shit where they land, right?
Yeah, none of this makes any sense. And there's like pieces breaking off. It's like, oh, buddy, is like your skin flaking off? What is happening? It's like
in my mind, no, they're not. That's not them. Like they're in a pod. Like they're in a spacecraft, and it's just part of the heat shielding peeling off.
It's a little bit of both, actually.
Okay.
As a person that has the toys of the Cybertronian meteorite mode, they call it, coming down to Earth, it is a little bit of both that they're going for. And I will also say that the only one I could keep track of when they came down was Ironhide. I know he's the one that landed in the pool, and the girl called him the Tooth Fairy. But everybody else was kind of like a mystery.
Which this is where you get that Spielberg touch. Like it is not a Steven Spielberg movie at this point. Like, I mean, I know it's kind of like you could, if you crane your neck hard enough and squint your eyes enough, the boy in his car thing is almost an ET type of thing. I don't think it's.
That's what he was like angling for, and like there was a desire to do that Spielberg like wide-eyed little child thing.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe you're alluding to this, but Spielberg actually gave that note, and that completely changed the first draft of this movie to be a little more focused around a boy in his car.
Yeah, and for the better. Absolutely,
I agree.
Because it is kind of the engine that makes it go. But the thing that I like in this sequence is it does feel very Spielbergian, both in like atmosphere and even in the way that when the protoforms reveal themselves or try to hide or whatever. I like that they are unambiguously alien. What I mean by that is, like, I think even we as Transformers fans lose track of that sometimes. It's like, yes, these are robots, yes, they're vehicles, but they're also space aliens. And I have my issues with the overall design aesthetic of this iteration of the characters, but I like in this form that they are almost like scary looking, that they are aliens.
Well, and they have that line in the movie, like when Bee rescues Sam and Michaela, she is like, are you an alien? And like he's like, yeah. He's like, you got it. Like it,
Do we want to go through the vehicle modes, because I have those all written down? What they actually
give it to us.
Break it down. You'll have to humor me a little bit and pretend like you like this movie.
I'll try.
No, but so Optimus is a Peterbilt 357, and of course, Peterbilt 379, and of course he has the flames. That probably is the most polarizing thing about this movie. I think that was everyone. Either people jumped off the boat at that or what, but.
And it's been so long I don't even care anymore. It's like I saw it on screen and it did. I had opinions about it back in the day, and like even before the movie came out and you saw the truck, and I'm just like, I don't like this.
I honestly did. I thought it was cool looking. I liked the truck.
Yeah. Well, so then you also have Jazz, the second in command, and that is a custom Pontiac Solstice GXP. You have Ironhide. He's kind of the munitions of the group, and he is a GMC C4500 4x4 crew cab top kick. Before it was customized for the movie.
Why?
And
Just
Ratchet,
to interject real quick.
yeah,
You were doing so well.
I'm sorry. I just thought of this, and I don't want to lose it. Why not have Peter Cullen do Ironhide also?
money.
Yeah,
Got to pay him for that second character voice, right?
and I don't know if it's needed because,
You're right. I don't know. I'm not saying do the Ironhide voice from G1, but it would be just kind of neat to have him just do a different voice, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
It's
also
just something I thought of.
also the voice here is kind of nothing. I mean, it's
It
like
is not good.
and any of the characters that aren't Optimus Prime or I guess Jazz are just nothing.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree,
it's
because
just-
they
I mean,
didn't get
there's-
voice actors to do it. They got just regular actors, and I'm like,
Yeah,
And I don't think you could slap Frank Welker in the face any harder than be like, Peter Cullen, you're going to do 2 voices for this movie. Frank
Yeah.
Welker, 0 voices.
yeah.
great point on that. But yeah, I think the I know you said, Ryan, that you didn't necessarily want the G1 Ironhide voice, but even if there's even a sniff of it, that's a voice of a cartoon character that does not belong in this live action. Every time I look into a monitor, Prime, my circuit sizzle.
That's true. And
Woo-wee!
I guess what I'm really saying is why not get better voice actors for the other characters?
Sure. I mean, I will co-sign that legislation with you all day long.
All right,
Sure.
go ahead, Michael.
So finally, we have to round out the crew. We have Ratchet, who's the medic, and he is a 2007 search and rescue Hummer H2 ambulance.
Mhm.
And this one is a great one I wanted to end on because this is my favorite character. This is my favorite design. I really like the color and the look of it. It made me really like Ratchet, and I've kind of grown. My toy collection of Ratchet has grown because of this character version of him. But I wanted you guys. This is where I want you to humor me a little bit. Can pretend you actually like these designs of these Transformers. Do you have a favorite now that they're all standing in front of you? Do you have a favorite design of these characters?
I thought, and I think actually, speaking of Ratchet, like he is the only other Autobot than Prime and I guess B to get to do anything, like to be an actual character, really. So I did like that design. I mean, I like Prime's design. But yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'd have to say it would be Ratchet.
It's probably basic to say, but I like B.
Yeah.
And I think B is the closest to like what a realistic interpretation of a car robot would be.
Mhm.
Like I watching it, I wanted to say Optimus, but like his in this movie especially, he's a little too spindly and insectoid for my taste. It doesn't have like that chunky heft that obviously he gets later in the movies, but then also is a hallmark of the evergreen version where it's like, Optimus Prime is a big tough dude, and this version doesn't quite do it. But the detail that gets me over the hump with B is the door wings. I am a sucker for door wings.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've always appreciated that, and it's like that to me, just having the doors the way that they are really makes it feel like they're trying to, from a design aesthetic, invoke some of what we liked about the toys and the cartoon character design. And it's like, yeah, we'll give them door wings because it's cool.
Mhm.
So for me, that's why that one gets the pass. But I would also say that I agree with you. I think this is the beginning of the Ratchet reclamation project, because prior to this, even in G1, he's just a cranky doctor. Look at where this character would go, and I think it starts here. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think you get his interpretation in TFA. I don't think you get him in TFP, or even bleed over into like the later comics. I don't think you get any of that without this interpretation kind of blazing the trail for it and trying to reclaim that character.
Totally. And I was going to ask too, is the G1 version of Ratchet even a cranky old man? I
He
feel like
is.
he's kind of just a
I think he is. I think
regular
he's
schmuck.
kind of that in. Yeah, like he's always seems annoyed.
He's gruff.
Sure.
He's like Bones McCoy.
Does he have like an old man voice, or is it just like a young man doing a curmudgeon-y
I don't know
thing?
if I can do a Ratchet impression.
It's-
I can't honestly think of it.
It's a little gravelly, but I don't think it's a unique enough to be distinctive.
I will
But
say
yet
I
if
will
I-
disagree with you, Mike, because in our last episode, or maybe episode 171, the penultimate episode of season 2, Ratchet is done by Wally Burr,
Wally Burr,
and
Oh,
it is
Inks on
jarring.
Ice. Yeah.
So one more
Okay.
note on the character forms. I thought this was kind of interesting. Kate did interject something at this point, and she said that she was a little disappointed that the design choices, the flames, the racing stripes, were part of the scanned vehicles and not like pieces of flair that the Autobots were bringing to their look. And I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, you do want to disguise it, but I kind of like the idea that, maybe Optimus just wanted some flames, so he did a little. And it could have been very easily just kind of digitally airbrush those out on the vehicles that didn't become robots, right? And
Sure.
after it's scanned, suddenly those flames are back, suddenly those stripes are back.
It reminds me of something very uncomfortable that I from like a vintage making of featurette. I don't remember if it's on my DVD or if I saw it somewhere else, but Michael Bay is talking about the flames on Optimus Prime, and he's like, "Oh yeah, and we had some real cholos do the flames on Optimus," and I'm like, I had the exact same look that Ryan is having now on camera that you can't see, to where it's like, did he really say that? I'm very uncomfortable, and I think from that.
But
from
Michael
that,
Andrews is making a face that he relishes this kind of language.
yes, he's
Oh, he
literally
just
rubbing
loves
his
it.
hands. He's like, yes, casual racism,
Thank you.
food, excellent. Now do misogyny.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
That first reveal, like, I mean,
Yeah, I was just about to talk about that.
yeah, if we're playing by traditional APDC segment rules, this would be the moment I would pick, that Optimus Prime thing. And again, it's just like I talked about this with the Bumblebee transformation, but like, just like you see how intricate it is. Like you see like his arms pop out, and you see where like the fists are folded in, very, very toyetic. I don't think any of the toys actually ever transformed that way, but it's just, the music and everything, and again, I mentioned this earlier, but just like when he leans down and says, "Are you Sam Witwicky?" Or I think he says his middle name also, but like, and this little moment, that such a fucking cool Michaela moment, where she just whispers, she's like, "They know your name." That is just so fucking cool. And then of course the, "My name is Optimus Prime," and it's just like,
Are you Samuel James Witwicky, descendant of Archibald Witwicky?
Yeah?
My name is Optimus Prime.
Jeff's kiss. So
yeah, it's fantastic. It is really like, and again, it is one of those moments where I did also, even watching it this time, I'm like, I did get like chills, like watching it. Like, it's so good. It's basically kind of a perfect moment. I mean, even though we have the Michael Bay camera swing around, it works.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine. You allow for it. And it's one of those things, like in a movie theater as a 29-year-old man, I'm just like, I never thought I would see this. I mean, it's happening. It's Optimus Prime in live action. It's like, this has actually come to life in front of me. I can't believe this is actually real.
Yeah, yes. And then we get to introduce Jazz, who says,
"What's cracking, bitches?
What's cracking, little bitches?"
Oh, they're little bitches. My mistake.
And I fucking hate it.
Yeah, tell me more.
Because Jazz is one of my favorite characters, and just to make him just a garbage, like not really a character, and also, it is done by a black voice actor, but it's still so gross.
You don't think this is like the update of Jazz? Like, this isn't like a 2007 version of Jazz?
I don't feel like Scatman Carruthers Jazz would be any different like I feel like he's to me the character in the cartoon seemed like if you put him in today, I would be like, yeah, that seems like he's never like it doesn't seem dated to me. Like it just seems like I just hated that's his only line basically, and like he spins around like doing breakdancing moves, and I'm like I hate all this.
So I will go to bat for this a little bit because this is one of the things that I think people kind of forget. I mean, we can say that like Michael Bay made some bad choices or like maybe this was inappropriate, that sort of thing. But there is this sort of like the Autobots came to Earth and they downloaded what they could to create these sort of personas. And I think they just sampled, bits of something and thought it was cool. It's, it's sort of a cultural appropriation, if you will. I mean, they're kind of just taking something and thinking they can wear it like a jacket.
Yeah,
right?
I think you can apologize for it, but I still don't like it. Like I don't care.
Sure,
like I don't care what the
absolutely.
justification is, because also
but
we
I will
know.
go one step further to say, in future movies that we're not talking about here, they start to take more of their humanoid looks in the same way. And I think people are like, well, why does he have a trench coat? And why is this one a samurai? And I always kind of took it as kind of downplayed in the movies, but I liked the idea that they were sort of sampling culture. And the longer they're here on Earth, the more, streamlined and humanoid they're starting to look.
That's fine. I just don't like. It just feels minstrelly.
Sure.
That's it. I'm done talking about jazz.
No, it's spot on. Yeah.
And if we want to continue to steepen this and make this more comfortable, he is the Autobot that dies.
Yep.
Don't like that.
I will. Yeah, we'll get to that. You might hear something negative out of me. So.
Oh no.
Wow.
So we can say. We can
Such a
say at this
ray of
point,
sunshine,
we're done having fun because the Autobots are here, and
I do like the Ratchet line though. I mean, we can't skip that.
I will say I like Ratchet. Well, I don't like that line. Is annoying. Like I rolled my eyes at the human's pheromones indicate he wants to mate with the. I like it. It's like nah, I don't need it.
I liked it.
I must be more charitable in my old age. I don't know. I chuckled. I tossed.
It was fine.
It was
fine.
Right?
I just hate the humor they give to the Autobots because they just seem like morons.
Yeah. Well, having been a podcast that has just now covered 2 seasons, one of which being 50+ episodes.
All right.
Canonically, the Autobots. One thing I have learned from being on this APDC journey with you guys is that the Autobots, canonically, not very bright.
It's true, but there's a difference between it being a kid's cartoon and being a PG-13 movie.
Sure.
Like, and I think I have this point later, but Michael Bay was like, the reason their designs are so weird and spindly and like with all these like parts is because he thought that the blockiness of the characters would look silly on screen, which maybe they would. But
I agree actually with that.
I don't disagree. But then but you're still making them fucking idiots. Like, if you're gonna update everything, update everything. I don't believe they made them idiots because they're idiots in the G1 cartoon. I think they're just like, this is funny.
Well, to be fair,
but in this version we get Optimus Prime saying eBay. So I mean,
yes,
we get that makes up for all of it.
This portion of the Transformers brought to you by eBay.
Mm-hmm.
I have a funny story about eBay
and the World Wide Web.
Michael, you said, listeners, a little peek behind the curtain. We had a little break. And, Michael, you said you had a story about eBay.
Yeah, I wanted to tell a little, this is kind of how I got back into Transformers back in the day when I was probably, I think I was 13. It was the first time I'd seen the Transformers, the movie, because my cousin told me it existed. Before that, I didn't know it existed. And so I got really into Transformers. I was staying with him for a weekend, and he had eBay. He had an eBay account. And I was like, well, let's bid on some Transformers. Let's get me some vintage G1 goodies. And we were bidding on Hotspot. You guys remember Hotspot? He's a blue fire truck. He's part of the Protectobots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
He's the main body, right?
Yeah. So someone had one for sale, and I was getting outbid, and I don't know if this is still a feature, but back in the day, you could like message the person that was outbidding you,
Oh.
and and so right before I bumped the bid up $10, which was huge when I was 13.
Yeah.
I sent a message to the other bidder, and I said, if you don't stop bidding on this blue fire truck, I'm going to send a red ambulance to your house.
Gee. So today that would get you on a list.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're going to need a red ambulance.
And ever since then, I've been a Transformers boy.
So
Wow.
okay, so how did it end? Did your threat work? Were you successful?
No, he got it.
Because I'd increase my maximum bid
But
right
years
there.
later, I found one at a garage sale for $10. So fuck that guy.
Nice.
If you're
$10.
listening, fuck you.
Fuck you, and the same threat stands. If you're listening. No, just kidding. No ambulances.
So at this point in the movie, I think we get a flashback where we see Megatron and his design. I have problems with the other designs, but they're not too bad. But this design is like, I can't deal with it. Like him and Starscream, who's an upside down triangle.
He's a Dorito chip.
Couldn't you give him some color? Like, I know they're
Yeah.
gray. Like the F-22 is gray, and like Megatron in the show is gay. It's gay.
No, that's in the
You
comic
heard it
book,
here
my
first.
friend.
Leave that in. Leave that in.
Yeah.
Leave that in. Leave that in.
Megatron in the cartoon is gray, but like it's just so flat and like it's just unappealing to the eye to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Perfect.
Sorry.
The dog
Well
agrees.
said. Well said. I was gonna say. Oh, that's perfect. I love it. Well, while Michael Andrews is attending to his situation there, I guess I'll talk on the Megatron design. I'm with you, Ryan. I hate it. I hate everything, like capital E everything
I agree.
about the Megatron character in this movie.
Mhm.
Like, I don't especially like Hugo Weaving's voice. I don't like the design. I don't like what the character does. I don't care for why he's even there. I hate like the whole Iceman thing. I just like there's not anything I don't hate about it. I hate that he's a jet for some dumb reason. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like that was one of the things I think, like, the movie is supposed to be like building up to this reveal that it's like, oh wow, it's Megatron, and it's like, it's him, he's here, and it's all very flat. I think I'm getting ahead of myself because, like, Ryan, you were talking about like the flashback, and I'm trying to remember what arouses that flashback.
I do not recall.
It's because Optimus is telling them why they're on Earth. And coordinates, and he says the leader of the Decepticons crashed on Earth, yada yada, your uncle or your grandpa or whatever.
Yeah, he does like the whole PowerPoint presentation for him, which is kind of cool with like the ground breaking out from underneath them and all that. I mean, that's kind of a way
terrifying,
to tell.
but
yeah. I mean, it's
like those 3D rides, you know, that you just get vertigo even though you're not actually moving.
Yeah, kind of like Transformers the ride. Actually,
I will agree with you, Mike. I don't like anything about Megatron in this movie. I would say he's not a character. His motivations are nebulous at best, and the design is. I don't feel like I'm being nitpicky. I think it's just bad.
Yeah, it's a little, because I think the idea is he never really like there was no
Changed.
forms to take. He's been in ice, like he's raw alien Megatron, and they just kind of like went
that
with
speaks
that because-
English.
Yeah, Flash. The World Wide Web. Okay, he woke up, he downloaded the World Wide Web
Instantly. Yes, of
yeah,
course.
I mean, whatever. Yeah,
but he didn't. I don't think he had time to properly scan a vehicle, and maybe he thought that was abhorrent to.
Yeah,
sure. I could, I could give, like, again, I could forgive, like, the design doesn't, that's not a huge deal, but, like, just the fact he doesn't, first of all, he doesn't show up until, like, an hour and 30 minutes into the movie, and then doesn't, like, he's not a character. He's just, like, evil for the sake of evil.
As opposed to the original Megatron, which had so much character development in that first episode.
He had schemes. He had ideas, as Michael Andrews is doing the Joe motion on our little.
I don't know why we had to wait so long to get there. Like, why we have to wait until halfway through the movie, 3/4 of the way almost through the movie, to get to the Decepticons. It's annoying. Like, and that's why I'm like, yes, you're right, Michael. Like, G1 Megatron doesn't have a lot of depth. Again, I would say children's cartoon to sell toys. Doesn't have to be the same way in a PG-13 2007 movie. But, like, why not, like, 20 minutes and then we're there? Like, just give him something to do. He doesn't even have he doesn't do anything except fight Prime.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. All right.
So this whole flashback thing, and again, maybe I'm getting my flashbacks mixed up, but like the first flashback way at the beginning of the movie when Sam is trying to do his Amway presentation for his classmates, where he's like trying to sell them Mary Kay for some reason, you get a little. Am I misremembering this? And like you get a little bit of a flashback there where you get Archibald Wiki and the crew there.
I think so.
And he's.
Right.
And being
there's definitely photographs, if not a true flashback.
Got it.
Part of his presentation.
Yeah, where it's a lot of white men telling folks of color what to do to labor it.
I actually like I love the flashbacks to the Arctic because I'm like, I kind of just want to watch this movie.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I kind of don't, but that's all right. But like, so, because like, I mean, Archibald Witwicky just kind of seems like kind of a jerk. Mm-hmm. It's just like, hey, mush, that kind of thing. Doesn't really seem to do a whole lot other than yell at people. So then, like, he falls through the ice and finds Megatron, and his first immediate thing, he's going to like try to finger fuck this thing or something. He's just like, oh,
I know that's my move.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, let me find a way to fondle this thing. I think I'm trying to say too many things at the same time. I'm just saying, like, it's a very white guy, like, oh, well, I lay claim to this. I've seen it, therefore it's mine. And I'm gonna
historically accurate, sure.
Yeah. That's where I was going. Thank you to both of you for helping me get there, because my take was a little half cooked. But anyway, he immediately just starts like getting his dick skinners all over this thing, and so I guess like touching a hand finger thing turns on the navigation system. None of this makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm about to get to that. We're going to slide real fast past the plate of donuts scene.
No, we will not slide past that, because that's one of the greatest scenes in movie history.
I fucking hate it.
Oh, I love it. I live by that rule. Okay, I've never been arrested, but I know that if I am, I have to eat the whole plate of donuts, because that means you are not guilty.
Yeah, Maggie and Anthony Anderson have been arrested by the FBI, and they're in an interrogation room with a plate of donuts. I get also that, like, I like, of course, it has to be aesthetic with the lighting, and, like, everything's dim, even in, like, the military base, and, like, we have ambient lighting and stuff, but I'm like, if you watch any police videos, you're like, it's just like a card table in the corner of a closet.
Yeah. Lots of stone brick walls. Very, very plain.
So Anthony Anderson is like, yeah, there's a plate of donuts, and he's like, if you're guilty, you don't eat. And he's like, I ate the whole plate. The whole plate.
That's as not guilty as you get.
And then he immediately played for laughs when they come in immediately. He's like, she did it.
Yeah. Which,
if I can say anything negative about that scene, is that it was a missed opportunity to bring back Officer Not Judd Nelson as a secret FBI
that would be funny.
That's well, look who it is.
That would be funny. That would totally work.
Drippy, folks.
This is another point where I'll just say, why is the FBI involved in this movie? Like, again, we're concluding every government agency. Like, why are we making... I guess, and not to get too far ahead, but my complaint against this movie is it is ridiculously overcomplicated.
Yes. And overly long.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah. Again, yeah. From the guy that made his podcasting career by stretching an hour-and-a-half long movie into 2 years.
Yes. Yeah. That's accurate.
It's what we call the Mike Seibert effect. Like, I like what he's doing. 2.5-hour episodes. Yes, please.
Aaron is kind of always like wanting the episodes to be shorter, but every time we get feedback, they're like, I wish these episodes were longer. And I'm like, wow, all right. And that's how I feel about the consuming podcasts, because I'm like, if you like this, why wouldn't you want more of this?
Right, exactly. Well, and we a little peek behind the curtain. We were even kind of talking about how this conversation is going to be presented on the APDC feeds, because we kind of see the pace with which we're going through this conversation. And I'm an advocate for, like, if I'm invested in the conversation, it takes as long as it does.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm already invested in this conversation, because podcast and radio is a companion media. So like if I'm commuting to work and maybe it takes me like 3 sessions to get through the episode instead of 2 or 1, that's fine. It's just more hanging out with my friends. Now again, I think there's another side that in my content creation that I have not been able to see, because again, brevity is not my first best strength. I have never in 6 years of casting pods had somebody come up to me and say, figuratively or literally, yeah, you know what, I was gonna listen to that episode, but it's just too long.
Yeah,
and it's like it's more like, well, I have no interest in this particular subject, so I'll just pick and choose. Which, I mean, again, with my show, it's kind of meant to be a la carte. It's like, I don't expect anybody to listen to every episode of my show. It's like, yeah, come in for a topic that you like, but
I haven't listened to a single one.
This is true. That is not true at all. You've made references to where it's like, no, you listen to that episode. And but
I don't think this is too long at all. Now let's get back to the square footage of that prison room. So, some important details of the wallpaper. And all.
We're at the point now where the Autobots go back to Sam's house so he can find his great-grandfather's glasses. And this is where I'm like, robots in disguise, friends. Like, you guys are bad at your job.
You had one purpose in this transformation.
These, like, just huge robots just casually walking through the Witwicky yard, towering over the houses. Oh, okay. Oh, here's actually an interesting point that took me a while to understand this component. So the glasses were imprinted with the coordinates of the cube, the Allspark, when Sam's great-grandfather accidentally activates Megatron's navigational system in the Arctic. So it took me forever to understand that the cube's location, I guess, was in the Colorado River, and they built the Hoover Dam around it.
Is that where the Hoover Dam is? Yeah. Yep.
But so was it in its tiny form? Because that fucker is huge when we get to see it.
Also, how does Megatron in the Arctic Circle know what will become North America and the United States? How does he even know any of that?
I think
it makes.
I actually do think, like, I think that he intercepts a signal from the cube, and that's how he knows where it is. I think.
Well, he's tracking the cube.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going after it, and I believe the coordinates are in like Cybertronian coordinates. Like I don't think what's imprinted on the glasses means anything to a human.
Yeah, it's all
I think
glyphs.
that's why they're looking.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just confused as to, like, the cube. Okay. Well, whenever the cube crashed, but like Megatron arrives on Earth in 1897. So at that point, the cube's in the Colorado River, and they build the Hoover. The United States builds the Hoover Dam around it to shield it, so it doesn't send out any more signals. But I'm like, it took that long to find it? The Hoover Dam was built in the 30s.
Meanwhile, this giant cube is just sitting there. Well, and at this point, they've already worked on it and have reverse engineered automotive technology.
Yeah, that's
the whole. Because John Turturro throws everything in there. It's like, we wouldn't be smart enough to come up with microwaves. Of course, it's always reverse engineered alien technology, and like part of that is okay, like post the 30s, but then you have technology that predates the Hoover Dam, like automobiles. You can't have it both ways, Agent Simmons.
It is something that irritates me constantly. I've got conspiracy theories of aliens built the pyramids because surely human beings couldn't have done it, and that's annoying because we did. But
I think that.
I do like a little bit of fun conspiracy stuff because it's kind of a sideways, like Roswell Corona incident thing where it's like we back engineered a bunch of stuff from the 40s where like in this conspiracy theory, I think it's Truman that met with the Greys and was like like that's why technology took off and stuff like that. So I think that was a fun nod, but it is also like
again, it all goes out the window, and I know Michael has something really good here, but like that all goes out the window when you throw automobile technology in there, which is in the 1910s, if I'm not mistaken. So
I was gonna say, I think the genius of that joke is that I think we're meant to believe that Simmons is kind of talking out of his ass at this point. Like this is just an over exaggeration on his part. And in the second movie, he does play he's not in the military anymore, or in Sector 7, he's just a conspiracy nut for the next 2 movies. The next 4 movies actually. And I think that at this point he's just saying whatever comes to mind, bragging, boasting about this thing that's in his basement, but not actually meaning any of it.
I never thought of it that way. That's brilliant.
All right.
And they could have had someone else say that if they meant it, right? Banachek character, for example, could have delivered that with a straight face, but instead you have John Turturro about to zap a cell phone and does all this weird stuff.
All right.
Yeah. Apropos of nothing, but if that character was around and they did those movies today, that dude would have a conspiracy theory podcast because those are the kind of jokes we make in 2022.
Well, that actually, Mike, that's what happens in the second one. It was a website because podcasts weren't a thing, but
right.
But yeah, that he started a conspiracy website that rivaled Sam's roommate in college.
Yeah, I really hate that movie.
So we're still at Sam Witwicky's house. By the way, this scene goes on for 7 fucking minutes.
Oh,
like until John.
Blessed for everyone. Why couldn't it be 8?
Until John Turturro shows up. Like so. Okay, we'll just go through it real quick. Not real quick, but like we'll just go through it. Mojo the dog pees on Ironhide's foot. Yeah. And I forgot there are 2 piss jokes in this movie.
I didn't.
I'm like, fuck.
This is the ghost of piss joke present. We're almost to the
piss foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I will say I did really enjoy Kevin Dunn as Ron Witwicky and Julie White as Judy. They're very good. Like, and in watching this again, I liked the human story. Well, the Witwicky and Michaela storylines better than I did the first time I watched it. Like, I like them. I like the human storylines. Those human storylines. The part where Ron thinks there's an earthquake and runs over under the table carrying his wine glass is very funny.
Yes, and
her over there so fast.
Yeah,
exactly.
You get over there. That's what my
cool.
girlfriend said. She's like, "That's very funny."
And then later when he's like, "Aftershock,"
and gets in the tub.
It's great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, the scene goes on, I feel like, way, way too long. And here we get John Turturro coming in as an agent for Sector 7. Well, and I feel like...
I'm sorry to interrupt, Ryan. Have we already done the masturbation joke? Or is that coming after John Turturro shows up?
I didn't mind that. I kind of, both my girlfriend and I liked that interaction with the mother being like, "Are you masturbating?" And the kid, like Sam and his dad, being like, "Whoa, stop talking."
I love that it aligns those two, right? Like they're opposing it at the start of the scene, and then Sam's happy time comes up, and it's Judy, stop,
Judy, stop.
Boy and his dad, like, we can't do this.
Well, and again, it could be interpreted as uncomfortable. I don't know. But then you get the Michaela reveal, and then it's like, holy shit, you're fucking gorgeous. And dad goes for the fist bump. And it's like that reads authentic for how that would go, I think. Because it's like, holy shit, it's fucking Megan Fox. Good Lord.
I agree.
It's one of my favorite cuts in the whole movie when Michaela pops out and it cuts back to the mom and she's like,
yeah, it's like it's happening like in a significantly poorer movie of this, you're probably going to have some kind of homophobia joke in there. It's like, oh, hey, he's not gay after all, or some shit like that. I wouldn't put it past him, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't.
We're giving people credit for things they didn't do.
That villainous, homophobic, ableist, sexist Michael Bay.
We can't put words in his mouth or assume what he thinks. So
yes, exactly. But I think that scene plays, and I like the parents in this movie, and I've talked about this a lot already. But I think like the perception of the later movies influences this one. It's like, oh yeah, the parents are awful. No, the parents get awful. They're actually kind of charming and funny and good comedic foils in this particular movie.
I love them in this movie. I think they're great. I haven't seen any other movies, so I don't know. But
well, do me a favor and don't.
We had somebody on Patreon be like, "Oh, you should do the second movie and make sure Caleb sits in." And I'm like, well, I think it's going to be a while.
Okay, all right. So Simmons comes in. John Turturro pops his head, and you get another great character in this film.
What he said.
I maybe I'm speaking because the character's grown on me over the following movies, but I was psyched for this guy. I liked him a lot.
I love John Turturro. I just fucking hated this character like with every fiber of my being. I thought there's nothing I find interesting or endearing or funny about him.
Yeah, I'm kind of Team Ryan here. So being the resident Bay apologist, what about this character speaks to you? Why do you give a shit about this guy when we hate him so much?
I just think he's kind of wacky. I think I like his jokes. I like his delivery. I think knowing the full extent of who this character becomes in later movies helps me retroactively appreciate his role in this movie. But I just think he's John Turturro's like funny in a weird way, right? Like even when he does the Witwicky mess up joke, like that's funny. Like he's funnier. It's a funny delivery of it.
Okay. You're entitled to your dumbass opinion about what you think you know.
Wow.
Ooh,
sorry. I didn't mean that.
That one wasn't just in my head, folks.
I thought this was a safe space. I was mistaken. Good Lord.
I will say, as just like, not to get too far afield, but just an offshoot of like, he is one of the last weirdo looking actors, like with Steve Buscemi and like Willem Dafoe, like where actors were allowed to be weird looking and like still I think we kind of lost that in a lot of ways. Like even in older movies, if you look at Humphrey Bogart, he's fucking ugly. Like, and I just miss having ugly people in movies. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I get it. So like, where are we at? Are we still at the house with John Turturro? And
just the last thing about the house, Turturro says Sam is giving off 14 rads of radiation, which I looked up. It is the equivalent of 450 chest x-rays. So enjoy the cancer and never having children.
And that is kind of like an interesting thing that comes to nothing.
No, it's never brought back up again. Like it's supposedly, I guess, Energon is supposed to give off radiation, is the implication.
Which kind of makes sense.
Fake. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Well, I mean, like introduce something if you're gonna do something with it. Like the dude like scanning the plants and stuff. He's like direct contact.
I know we're kind of doing it for the sake of a bit, but the cube radiation is what gives.
It's true.
You know, it does come up later in the movie. It's what animates. You know. Everyday objects into Transformers.
And I think this is another thing that just speaks to trying to do so much with like so many moving parts in this movie. Is I think that may have been a bigger component in an earlier draft, and it just kind of got lost a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a complete speculation on my part. I have no idea.
Have we gotten to the part where they're in the car?
They're in the car.
And John Turturro makes some very uncomfortable remarks about well, first of all, and it's for me, it's two things. When you put them together, it makes it even more uncomfortable. He refers to Michaela Megan Fox's training bra, which is not great. And then
not true,
almost. Well, and that was something that my wife popped up with. Like she didn't really say a whole lot during this particular viewing, but she's like, okay. It's like I forget exactly how she phrased it, but it was something to the effect of like, Well, that was a line written when the actress wasn't Megan Fox.
Yeah, I think
'Cause
that's true.
It's like, but it gets more uncomfortable because then he's like, oh yeah, you're a criminal and criminals are hot. So it's like, so the direct and
she's
putting
also a junior in high school. Everybody remember?
yeah, which it's just very uncomfortable. I don't like it.
So
I don't like it.
Here's another thing.
Not even a little.
Just to catch it up, like it's revealed at this point that Megan Fox's father is in prison, and for like I guess car theft. And why do we put this in the movie? Like it doesn't. Why did we? Aside from letting Sam treat her like shit for about 5 minutes, why even put this in her backstory?
Well, you don't think that kind of makes her interesting or gives her kind of an edge that she would not normally have?
No, like I
think it just fleshes her out as a real character, that she's she's got some kind of baggage.
Nah, see, but here's the thing: I found that I never at any point in this movie thought she wasn't a fleshed out character, and then this component came in, and it felt like what to me.
And it does give a little bit of conflict between her and Sam that we don't really have. I don't know if it's needed, but it's something that, because like they have that thing where it's like, wow, you're just looking at me different now, you piece of shit. So I don't know if this movie needs that, but it's here.
It's again just for me the part of like it doesn't really matter and doesn't make me like her any more or less, and it makes me like Sam less.
Sam's a piece of shit. Kind of throughout.
What? Why? Whoa!
You don't think so? Well,
I don't think Sam's a piece of shit.
You don't think so?
Nah.
I don't know. I just I guess revisiting when we see him earlier in the movie, he's well, I guess well, it sounds like that's an exaggeration that I might have to walk back, but like he's certainly a privileged snot boy.
Yeah.
And I
guess I feel like he's. I think it works for a
he's a suburban white kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a suburban
white
kid that feels like the world owes him something. Like all of us felt.
There's a component of, I think we might
know.
also be viewing it in the term of like, now we know like incel pieces of shit, like so we might be like retroactively viewing him in a harsher way than I think he's just a teenager.
I think he's sort of like he's not very popular at school. His family doesn't have a ton of money. I mean, their house is nice enough, but
you don't think that
are
family
you crazy?
Has a ton of money? See, and this is where I jump off at it.
Trying to make money to get the shittiest car he can even possibly get. I mean, there is an element of,
right. So okay,
lower middle class.
So my dad is super rich and won't buy me a car, so I'm going to go to my friends to give me money to buy a car. That's I don't know, dude.
What a human dirtbag.
I think it's fine.
Right.
I also don't mind like obviously, and I don't know on what scale we're measuring this, but his parents are fucking rich. Like they're rich.
Yeah.
like
unambiguously.
Yeah. And so, but I don't dislike the idea that I like the kind of idea that his dad is like, give me half the money and then we'll get you a car. Like, I'm just not going to give you a car. And look at the car he's driving. Like, that's $100,000 vehicle.
Yeah. And probably one of several.
So anyway, where are we? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're in the car, but I want to get us out of the car because this is where the Autobots kind of attack the car and free the humans. And I love this scene for probably a weird reason, because Optimus gets down and he goes, "Get out of the car." And I love that line because to me, that's a "what about Bob" moment. If you remember Richard Dreyfuss towards the end of the movie, he pulls Bill Murray out. He goes, "Get out of the car."
Are you saying you'd rather work mornings?
I just love it.
Watching that movie as a kid and watching that movie now, I'm like, oh, Richard Dreyfuss was right the whole time. Bob is a dangerous psychopath.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like this scene until we get to my least favorite scene in the entire movie, where Bumblebee lubricates the man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just
He learned it from the dog, okay? He's just sampling Earth culture, all right? This is something Earthlings do all the time. It's natural, it's normal, it's beautiful.
it's beautiful. A little peek into your home life.
Too much?
I'm really into golden showers, guys.
What is this? My browsing history?
So I just it made me look like my girlfriend laughed because at that scene I looked away from the screen and down, and she's just like, yeah, I knew you would hate that. Still, yeah. Jail for 10,000 years, Michael Bay, for that scene alone.
Mm-hmm. Didn't like it then. Don't like it now.
And then of course we have the L.A. River. Make an
which,
appearance for the chase.
Speaking
scene.
of pee, that thing is half pee.
Yeah.
I've seen all that. I'm like, oh, you're just driving in pee. Gross.
And I know at the APDC here we talk a lot about Invincible Humans, the G1 cartoon, but Sam and Michaela are on Optimus Prime. When he's hiding under the bridge, and they fall, they hit his feet and bounce, and are caught by B a couple inches off the ground. So once again, in all Transformers lore, if you fall and don't literally hit the ground, you're fine.
Yeah,
You're good. You're good.
yeah. Meanwhile, their organs and bones are liquid. I mean, they're just pasty bags, flesh bags. Yeah,
I think that scene's kind of important because it's really a moment where like Bumblebee sacrifices himself for them, and
It's true.
and quite literally he does, because the next thing we see is him getting accosted by the Sector 7 thugs with their ice guns.
This scene actually, I'm going to talk out both sides of my mouth in a minute, but like this scene actually was emotional. Like B getting captured did like legitimately move me.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Oh
mhm.
yeah. And the music and everything get almost to tears.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very, very effective. One thing I wanted to touch on while we were here is you talked about Michaela and Sam being on top of Optimus Prime, and again, this is a spectacular use of a hybrid of practical effects and digital effect. When like Sam is like hanging on to the exhaust pipe, that's a real practical thing that he's hanging on to, but like the Optimus head is obviously a digital effect. Again, I just love how much practical actual things we're bringing into this movie, and I think what makes a lot of the Bumblebee stuff work in this sequence and then later on, that's like, especially when he's like down after he's gotten hit with the freeze guns and whatnot, is that's very much like a fully built prop. That, I mean, to the point where it almost looks kind of goofy when they're trying to transport it, because it's got no movement to it at all, because it's a thing that
But you didn't notice that back in the day the first time around. It was pretty seamless.
I don't really notice it now. I think it is seamless. Like it looks good. It still looks good.
I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm just saying that like I appreciate that texture, because like there is something different when actors interact with a real thing as opposed to like a tennis ball.
Well, yeah, and I was going to bring this up earlier, but at this point in history, we're only about a year out from Star Wars Episode 3, and I mean that's leaps and bounds. I mean, Episode 3 looks pretty good, but this is like leaps and bounds better.
Wait, we're like 2 years after.
2 years out from.
Out from. Jesus, that's that's a that's my West Coast
But if we're talking about movies where people are staring at tennis balls and there's not anything in the set with them, I mean, this movie looks a lot better than that.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's that hybrid of using practical stuff and computer effects. It's like how stuff like Terminator 2 still holds up, how like Jurassic Park still holds up, because it's such a judicious use of the computer effects that, like, I mean, again, you don't see that nowadays. Everything is just like, everything is done in the computer. Nothing is practical and nothing is impossible. I think movies are worse for not having those physical limitations.
It is true. There's something to be said for like working around limitations. I mean, that's why Jaws is so good.
Yeah.
Well, and so we're
Speaking of
invoking Spielberg here, but yeah, I think what also makes Jaws work is necessity being the mother of invention.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously, like the shark didn't work, so it's
Mhm.
like, how do we make this movie still work when our main prop does not work and it's effective? Now it's hard to have stakes and investment when like it's just like bebop boop computer, and it's I don't know. I don't mean to go
I don't
like
know
on
if
this
we've
whole.
gone into old man corner,
We're
but
there.
I agree with
I'm
you.
gonna tell you
I
right
have.
now, we're there.
I certainly have, and it's
Let me, but as we transition to the next scene, please God, I just want to ask a little opinion question. Do you guys think Simmons' Sector 7 underwear is like standard issue, or do you think that's like a custom thing he made for himself because he's so pumped to be part of Sector 7?
Is the underwear thing
I
a
didn't
thing in
even
this movie?
notice.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Superman symbol, but it's S7
that's
instead of just the S, and
right.
it's on his underwear.
I think you're thinking of the other movie.
No,
where it's
he's
like,
not.
Like,
He's right. It's there. It's
Okay,
in there.
I thought
How
he was
dare you,
wearing.
Mike Seibert?
I thought he was wearing boxers in this one and had like some.
yeah,
Like,
the
it's on
boxers, and they
his
have the little.
T-shirt.
Oh, is it on his T-shirt?
Yeah.
It's on his T-shirt, and
Yeah.
I
so
think
but
the underwear are also Sector 7, but I will say, yeah, the Superman symbol I think is on his tank top.
it certainly is, and yes, it is. It is definitely
Definitely homemade.
Yeah,
You think it's okay?
100%.
So this is kind of a part where I start to tune out a little bit because we get a lot of military jargon, humans going places, yada, 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 Hoover Dam built around the cube, Megatron, shield, great. And I cut to, this is a question I had, and maybe Michael Andrews, you can answer this for me. Where did those, so the glasses fall out onto the ground after Michaela, Spike, and B are taken away. Where did those glasses come from? I
think
Frenzy had them.
No, because Sam had got him at his house, right?
Yeah, but we never see him get them, and Frenzy is in the house and is scared by a goldfish, which is actually kind of funny. But like he's in Michaela's purse still in the house, and I'm like, why are you still here? Take the glasses and go.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for that.
All right.
Might be on something there. And the one more thing too, just on the jazz topic, I also like his Magno hand trick that he does when he uses his magnetized claw to like steal all the guns away from Sector 7 agents.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. That was a nice little touch.
There's a shot in there where because like the guns were on a string and they yanked the string, you could totally see some dude take a gun to the face.
Oh no.
Again, that's just like a weird memory I had from like I think it's on this DVD. I think there's some like robust making of stuff that but I remember they showed it, and it's just this dude getting like plastered in the face with this prop gun. He's got like a bloody nose and all that other stuff, and
now it's daytime again, and Prime scans the glasses to find the cube. I don't know where they are, where this location is. I didn't look it up, but it's a weird temple-looking place.
I couldn't tell if it was like
Taj Mahal vibes or something.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was like the observatory but it's
for sure. But yeah, I don't know where it's supposed to be. Anyway, Prime scans the glasses to find the cube, and I do appreciate they included the line that
freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
I liked that.
Yeah, it's like he said the thing. He said the thing. And I was here for it. He says a thing later that I was here for, but then I thought about it and then I didn't like it. But we'll come back to
we
that.
might have the same point. We're now an hour and 37 minutes in, and we're just now getting the top tier Decepticons. But we get the Army, the U.S. government, Sector 7, hackers, and less than 12 humans in this scene in the Hoover Dam. But sure, now we get Megatron.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the ice is melting.
Yeah,
or the ice is the ice melting here? I don't remember, but I was making
doesn't
a
matter.
joke.
Like at this point, the movie
there's kind of
me...
this expository time while they're in the Sector 7 base, but I really like the attack on Sector 7. Like when the Decepticons realize they're in there and they start trying to like crack the shell, if you will, trying to get in there. I like that whole scene.
This is kind of for me where the movie starts to lose me. And unspool in a way that makes me upset. Like up to this point, I was kind of like, maybe I misjudged this, and now I'm getting mad. Like,
Perhaps I misjudged you. Proceed on your way to oblivion.
this is again where that fucking Decepticon frenzy shows up, and I'm just like, if I see this thing never again, it will be too soon.
We do in that scene though, just to kind of bring it back to the drinking game, we do get Michael Bay's signature like rotating shot as it rotates around the battle scene with Frenzy. So
Yeah, I stopped counting.
That's a
them.
drink and a big moment for
yeah.
for Bay fans.
Oh, we also. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
Well, I was going to say, I don't remember if this is pre Bad Boys 2 or post Bad Boys 2. Like,
I think it's pre.
One of the two shots homages the other. Where it's like we're doing like the whole circle thing, which was cool in that Bad Boys movie, not cool here. And so what is Frenzy's weaponry? Is he like throwing compact discs at people? Like, I mean, not to go back to the Air Force One thing, but it's just like death by compact disc. It's
sweet shurikens.
So dumb.
We also that point
took the blades from the Cuisinart
where they have the cell phone in a box and John Turturro like shocks it and stuff. We get a fun like slight racism here where he makes a Japanese reference about the way of the samurai, which is just fantastic.
Very uncomfortable.
It's a Nokia phone, which is not
yes.
Right.
So I wanted to make a little note about the Allspark at this point. So
okay.
I think there's kind of a missed opportunity here to get some depth on it because the Allspark is supposed to be what gives life, but visually it just sort of creates these mindless war machines out of any technology. I think they should have owned that a little bit because I think it would have been cool to explore the idea that the Autobots, well, both sides really, that they were sort of they thought this was like some ancient relic of their past, this beautiful origin story, and it could have just been sort of a military device, right? The means of creating an instant army, and I think that would have been a cool moment for them, for like Optimus to realize like this is our origins, we are this warlike species.
Yeah. That's fascinating, and I wonder, is this kind of like a forged versus constructed cold thing that kind of like it's kind of like a weird classism that comes into the IDW comics later.
Yeah.
It's like were you given life by the Allspark, or were you like however Optimus and his friends where they come from? Two different types of Transformers life. So do these items that are given life by the Allspark, whether it's the Nokia phone or the lady's steering wheel or the Mountain Dew
machine.
So do these have life? Do they like in the way that the Transformers do, or I guess
they don't seem to have intelligence like the main cast does.
So in a sense though, so I guess this is all building to my question of like the cell phone, the Nokia cell phone that becomes like this little murder machine. Let me see if I'm understanding this correctly, and sharpshoot me if you'd like. So John Turturro gives this thing life and then immediately murders it. So he murdered that cell phone, right?
Yes.
That was confusing because also Frenzy becomes a cell phone at one point earlier on whenever like B rescues Michaela and Sam. So I'm like, I guess I might have missed this because I thought that was him, and then he pops up again, and I'm like, I don't understand this.
Oh yeah, no, that's a new cell phone character. They just seem to like cell phones. Like
Yeah. I think also with the frenzy thing, with the cell phone thing, I think it's this particular movie is interested in scale and mass. So Frenzy can no longer convert into a boombox because like his head has been knocked off, but he can mass shift or convert or whatever into a cell phone. So basically he just assumes a new disguise is the way that I read it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's really cool, and I think just kind of getting back to that Allspark life-giving energy. I think that would have been a nice little tie-in to the conversation that I believe it was Jazz and Optimus were having about, Optimus wants to defend the humans because are we so different, and Jazz is kind of on the side of like, well, they're warlike and primitive, and we don't need to be here. I just think that was maybe a missed opportunity, or maybe it was even something they were building towards and just kind of got scrubbed.
Yeah, great dialogue between those characters at a time where where I'm desperate to hang on to something. I like that they at least have that philosophical discussion. Like, they're going to kill our friend. Well, we have to rescue him. Well, maybe we don't. It's like, so I like that there's a little bit of moral ambiguity in this giant loud robot movie.
I would say, just a little side note of that, and I know it can be justified in the logic of the film, but I don't think B had to be captured at all. Like, it lasts like 15 minutes, doesn't really go anywhere. He and Sam and Michaela could have just been on the run together and would have built the same kind of like relationship. It's just weird. I'm like,
I think it got him back to the base.
I guess
think that was the vehicle of it.
I guess.
Yeah. It's like you have to kind of, I guess, figure out how to get the characters together. You got to create like a rally point, I guess, or something. I don't know. At this point, have we done a robot roll call with the Decepticons yet? Have the Decepticons mobilized? Or did we jump
here.
Up?
So now, Megatron thaws and
and proclaims that he is Megatron. He's like, I'm. It's like, I mean,
so you do.
I know that's the first thing I do when I get out of bed in the morning. I've had a good deep sleep. Hi, I'm Mike Seibert, and then I'm ready to go.
I love the idea that that's how you wake up every morning. Hi, I'm Mike Seibert.
Yeah, I don't think you're selling, Mike. That does sound exactly like what you would do every morning. But yeah, no, to your point, we do start seeing some of the Decepticons, and I did take some notes on them like I did on the Autobots. But one thing I realized, that it's so dumb that I've never realized this before until I was doing this, is that outside of Megatron and Starscream, all the other Decepticons have B names. It's Barricade, Blackout, Bone Crusher, and Brawl. And that rounds out the cast.
Huh.
But yeah, so we have
goddamn
F-22 Raptor. We've established Barricades, the Saline Mustang. Blackout, he's actually Megatron's third in command, apparently. And his exact, we've seen him obviously before, but his helicopter mode is an MH-53J Pavlo 3 helicopter. Bone Crusher is a vehicle called the Buffalo, which is a wheeled, mine-resistant, ambush-protected armored vehicle.
Apparently, after this movie, a lot of military people who used that vehicle started calling them Bone Crusher.
Sweet.
Oh, I like that.
That's kind of cute.
Life imitates art. And then finally, we have Brawl, who's the Decepticon demolition specialist, and he is an M1A1 Abrams tank.
Is that the one who's called Devastator?
Yeah. Devastator.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So they are here.
Yeah, so they give the Devastator name to a tank, but I mean, I'm cool with him being Brawl. I think that's more appropriate. I just hate that canonically on screen it's he identifies as Devastator.
It's weird.
Well, it's only in the captions.
Yeah, it's only in the captions.
Yeah. So, but is it
right? So the only place where it counts.
But is it? You're right. But is it? Now I'm wondering, is it the captions of the alien language again, or is it like the closed captions?
It's just closed captions.
It's when it. It's the translated subtitles.
Oh, really?
So it's like they're identifying. It's like, Bone Crusher en route, Barricade on the way, Devastator rolling out, or some stuff like that.
I watch everything with captions, so I get a little confused.
Oh, sure.
Interesting.
So technically, I would think if what is on screen is canon, his name's Devastator.
Yeah.
No, I like the B's, the B squad, baby. Barricade, Blackout, Bone Crusher, Brawl.
Oh, I love that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's fun.
I'm just being shitty about like they don't know what the character's name is.
No, and I know, but I actually think that's a really weird thing because like when I don't know if this is true for all writers, but when I'm writing, it's like really weird for me to have people's names start with the same word. Like, I don't know if that's just like a weird Michael Andrews thing or if that's like an author thing, but like, yeah, they all got to start, it's more recognizable to have something different. I wonder why. I wonder what the motivation was between like, let's give them all B names.
Yeah.
Or as my girlfriend suggested, that they just didn't get that far in the list of Transformers names that was organized alphabetically. just get these top 4 B ones. Let's do this.
Yeah. And again, Brawl is a tank. So that,
right.
I mean, I would prefer he be Brawl.
Yeah. And he does actually have kind of the brawl. If we're going to talk about the design a little bit, he does have like the brawl kind of design too. So there was some attention paid to that.
He's definitely brawl for sure.
Yeah.
And that's all she wrote for now. In our part 3 conclusion, we will pick back up with the Allspark and the longest quote-unquote action fight scene in the known world. At least that's how it felt for some of us. Guess who it was? It's good stuff. I hope you're enjoying this little segue. Just kind of putting something interesting out while we at the APDC proper have our little hiatus. We'll likely be recording again in maybe, I don't know, a little over a month or so. I cannot wait for the Season 3 madness, which I say now, cut to 3 episodes in where I'm just a broken, hollow shell of a man because ACOM has ruined me. Okay, friends. If you like what we do and would like to prove it monetarily, go to patreon.com/APODcast. We have several layers of support there for everyone, and just recently sent out our annual booty boxes, which everyone seems to be enjoying. If you're not ready for that level of commitment, you can also go to our website, autopoddecepticast.com/store, and pick up some fun merch we have on there. We have button sets, cards, posters, art prints, all kinds of fun stuff. If you care to leave a review, we are on Apple Pod, 5 stars please, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, just about anywhere you can find podcasts, we'll be there. And in our social media, we are at APODcast on all the things. We're most active on Twitter, although Caleb has been doing a lot of stuff on Facebook recently, which we kind of let fall by the wayside for a while. And then we do have an Instagram, but we're kind of not. It's pretty barren on there. So yeah, and we also, if you want to send us an email, we have a link to our email. I think wow, I probably should have prepared that. I think it's autopoddecepticast@gmail.com or apod. There's a link on our Twitter and through our website. So there you go. All right, I think that'll do it. So join us for part 3, and until then, pistols at dawn. Bye, bye, bye.
Autopod Decepticast is sponsored by Goshen.